Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt Mills is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube production, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, go to www.photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to our friend Chris Clove, Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Chloe is your go-to. You can learn more about him and his work at upbeatmediapro.com. All right, we're super excited. We got a guest in studio today.
Yay,
Ashlee Erickson. We're going to have so much fun today. I'm excited.
Me too.
But I got to tell our audience a little bit about you first. Her bio is like a page here, a full page. It's so incredible. We're going to hit the highlights. So get the good stuff.
It better be a page long, right? But I'm doing the wrong thing.
I agree. All right. Ashlee Erickson has been a professional international makeup artist traveling all over the world for the past 20 years. She's worked fashion shows in Paris, New York, Tokyo, and Los Angeles. While living in LA for 10 years, she worked on music videos, television, print, and film. Some of her work includes she was the artistic lead for Katy Perry on several American Music Awards shows and the infamous Grammy Awards in 2013 and 2015, directing a team of artists for makeup design and concept for Katy and her dancers. NV&D Magazine of Dallas had her contributing as beauty writer to discuss all things fashion forward and makeup artistry and cosmetics each season. Many nationally recognized groups will invite Ashlee out to speak about the beauty industry and where it's headed in today's world. What's also awesome is that I love this part, like all the things you have done. Oh my gosh. Her work, like in print, advertising. You can find her ads, in McDonald's, JCPenney's, we got Dillard's, we got Verizon, Frito-Lay. The list goes on and on. So Ashlee, we're super excited to have you here to talk about what you're doing. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
I love this bio, Chloe. I was like, we got to pick out the highlights.
Right?
And I forgot to mention, this is another really cool thing that I forgot to mention. She was the beauty liaison and lead artist for 7 seasons on the #1 rated show, making the team the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders.
Yep.
How awesome is that?
It was great because I didn't have to put on the uniform. I got to do makeup, hair, eat.
Got to do what you wanted to
I
do.
do what I wanted to do. They had to starve and watch me eat at craft services, which sucked. But they're an awesome program of wonderful, wonderful women.
I love it. So I want to open this up because I want to know, Ashlee, because you've done so many incredible things and not everybody gets, is just born getting to do what you do, right? That's why we love this show. We get to talk to people that are passionate about their craft and are living basically their extraordinary life. And so I want to know, how did you get into this? Were you that kid when you were little decorating the Barbie dolls? With makeup?
Not to be cliche, but I was definitely, did some things around the house to get paid. And every Friday I'd run down to, I'm going to date myself now, but to Drug Emporium and would buy the latest Tinkerbell. And I would just stripe my face so much that my dad was like, whoa, before you walk out of the house, I need to check what's happening. Because I just looked like I had race stripes on. And, the bathroom where all the girls came to get dressed for homecoming and prom and dances. And everybody always wanted me to do it. And so I always kind of had a pull towards it. That I grew up in a family. I'm a 5th generation Aggie. So I graduated from Texas A&M in '95 with speech comm and journalism and debate and Spanish and all these great things. But having gone to a super agricultural and mechanical school, I really wasn't for sure where that was going to fit. Yeah. So, my whole life always attracted to it and color and redesigning my room constantly, buying all the newest Tinkerbell that every makeup that they had to offer and putting it all over my face on a Friday night to see what was going to work and what wasn't. A lot of things, it's like I tell my daughter in life all the time, it's not about figuring out what you do want, it's figuring out what you don't want. Yeah. And that was part of that trial and error for sure.
I love it. So when you went into this, obviously, like I said, from your story, you've been doing this for quite some time. What was that first big break for you? Where did you pack up and where are you originally from here, right? From Texas? Okay.
From Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Went to Lake Highlands High School. Like I said, graduated from A&M in '95. tried to make the corporate world work for a little bit, but wearing hose and high heels and suits was not my jam at all. And, like-minded people, we are the casuals that, so my dearest best friend, my mentor of life, I went out to visit her in LA. We'd grown up together when we were little, and she was already living there. And I went to go visit, and she said, "You've got 3 weeks. Go back home and quit whatever you're doing and sell whatever you have, and you can come live on my couch." So I did. And 3 weeks later, I was driving cross country and took a stop in El Paso and Van Horn and through Phoenix, and then landed in North Hollywood area and stayed on her couch and, started working again. To date myself, when you get there, I was working at a salon as the makeup artist and met this wonderful lady who repped one of the makeup lines in the salon in North Hollywood. And she would come in and say, "Hey, Ashlee," because I was the receptionist at the front. Okay. She was like, "Hey, we have all these returns of makeup that I can't take back. So if you'll take it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it," because you can't return cosmetics, right? And so that's how I built my caboodle kit. And then back in the day, way before, we had internet and things that came out, you got a mailing weekly if you were part of the Production Assistants Association in California. Okay. And so every week you'd open it up in the mail and they'd say, "We're looking for a PA." Sometimes you'd get lucky and they were looking for a PA in the honey wagon, which is the makeup and hair wagon on set. So I started being the PA, and that was extremely humbling, having degrees from A&M and going out there and serving coffee to people that I'm not sure everybody could spell their first name, but I was like, "Yes, what kind of coffee do you want?" And then finally a guy let me wash his brushes. And then he couldn't come on set. And it was actually a director. I was working a movie and as an assistant to an assistant to an assistant. And because I have the gift of gab.
No, did not think that.
Did you set that timer, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
But because because I could talk football. I was raised in Texas. Okay. My dad was like, "You're going to know how to barbecue, watch football, and drink beer," right? And those are 3 very important attributes.
You live in Texas.
That will get you through life. And so he and I met and just totally kicked it off. And then every film he did for that, after 5 years, I followed him around and worked my way up from assistant makeup to makeup department to key department head, which is, what you get to, and getting all your SAG and AFTRA and everything. And so it sounds cliche, but I had to move, sleep on a friend's couch, meet the right people, but because I can put my hand out and say hello and have a conversation. Yeah. It's never about who's the most talented in the room. It's who people want to spend time with. That's
right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that thing that's setting with me, and I don't know about you, Chloe, but I think when you mentioned earlier about, having the degree and then having to do this other kind of step back, be a little humble about having this and going, okay, this is what my long-term strategy is. Yeah. I'm going to have to suck it up. I'm going to have to just suck it up a little bit.
And
you know what I mean?
Saying step back, because it felt like it was a charity back.
I'm sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm putting that kindly.
Yeah. Probably. My mom was like, "How did I put you through A&M and you're stepping back and getting coffee for people as a job?" And I'm like, "Just be patient. It's going to happen. It's going to happen."
I just wanted to prove to you, Mom, that I know how to play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So they basically were like, "You've got 365 days to make this work, and if not, you need to come back." And I was there for 10 years, so it was great.
But the best decision you made,
I tell my daughter all the time, I will never have to sit back on that porch swing whenever I'm older and say, "What if?" And that was always my biggest concern growing up.
Sure.
Is, what am I missing? And our world wasn't as large as what it is today, right? We didn't know all the things that we know. Yeah. So I didn't know what was ahead of me. But I will never have to sit on that porch swing and say, "What if I had just tried?" Because I did.
And a lot of people do have that regret, right?
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people do. And that's what I think is so great about all the people we talk to.
Absolutely.
Is that you guys are getting to do the things that you enjoy doing, right? And that's what life is about.
What if. That's the greatest part.
Yeah. So tell us what you're doing now, because you've kind of evolved this. Like you've taken this whole, makeup artistry and you've kind of evolved it into this new company that you've got. You've had this, how long is this, the company you have now been in existence?
Well, I've had AshleeErickson.com forever.
Okay.
Because that's where all my contract labor went through. Right?
Okay.
And then as my daughter was growing and, she was a professional dancer for a while and had an agent, and we moved back to Texas because I wanted to raise her here rather than raising her in Los Angeles. but we were always traveling, and I was considered, bi-coastal as a makeup artist. But when you're a left and a right brainer, there's something that's always itching at me to say, hey, it's great to live in this artistry lane, but you also really need to use the other side of your brain. So how do I monetize a business without just being in the constant one-off of life? And how do you get that revolving door coming back? And so I actually went into corporate beauty for a while.
Okay.
And that was amazing. What I got to see on the backside, which was production and development, things I had never seen before. And, working with the chemist on the correct foundation to go to market. So I was getting a 360 view. If you're talking about one lip gloss, and I was taking it from inception to sale to the end result, which was pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
So, we obviously, came back here. I did that. Larger beauty companies are out of LA and New York. They're not in Texas.
Yeah.
So I was always having to travel, and that was really hard on me. And so, it's one thing to go for work. It's one thing for all the meetings and stuff. And that's where my other side of the brain was like, okay, let's slow the business side down some. But what I really got to start dipping my toe into about 10 years ago was being on the producer side. So I've always been behind the camera. I'm the one everyone wants to make friends with because I'm the do or die that's going to make you the best you can look that day.
Got it.
But then be on the producer side, so you do get more of that business acumen. And producer hires the crew and works with the client and makes sure that the end result is what is needed and there's clear messaging. And you're the networker, everybody.
Right.
And that was really kind of where I was going on this journey. It was not just the moniker of makeup, but it was really like she's a business person. So I really wanted more of that acumen to come in. And so that's what the corporate beauty world got me to, was understanding what's the business side, not just using the product and being behind the scenes, but what's the business side. And I really enjoyed that. So, but in end of last year, it'd been a long 8 years, and I was ready to get back to just being Ashlee Erickson again. Mm-hmm. So I kind of relaunched it and started getting out and shaking hands and kissing babies and being the politician networker. And because I've got so many resources in my back pocket, I knew I'd have great videographers. I've born and raised one of my makeup artists since day one. So that's a big one, is to be able to trust somebody to give that over to somebody. And then really reigniting and refueling the AshleeErickson.com as its own business, and then expanding that to Ashlee Erickson Production.
Okay.
Was more about, we have 20 different things that we can do for a business versus me just coming in as hair and makeup. So now I really want the moniker more now of being executive producer. And I also love anything documentary or history. So really the navigation trail to date has got me to a place of all the networking. How do I offer businesses something that I can relate to them on? Because they see me come in and, kind of in the fast track of LA. And I think most people are like, oh, that's too much. And how do I do this? So I had to figure out a way to become relatable.
Yeah.
And that's really where I've kind of positioned myself today, is helping businesses have more video marketing presence, and people buy from people before they buy your product. So how do I help you become your own Netflix series? How do I help you become your own documentary? So that's really kind of 20 minutes later. That's my answer.
It's all good. Evolution. I like it.
I love
It's
an
good.
evolution
But
story.
listen, you've been in the business for a while, in
Yeah.
the industry, so it's okay that you took that time to do that, because you can. You've earned it.
But there's lots to give.
I know. You got a lot. And then, I know the day we met, it was so funny because I told Chloe we met at a networking event, and it was like, instantly, I'm like, I like her. She just has fun energy, direct, but I like the energy.
Right.
And I think what's great is you mentioned something a while ago about the left and the right brain, because I feel like that's how I operate. Chloe,
Yes.
you feel like that? Like, we can be creative, but then there's that part of us that has to reel it in and say, okay, we got to think here logically, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing with the creative to make it work with the logic brain, So
But especially to have this huge umbrella where you do a lot of things, but how do you hone that down?
Right.
Because a lot of people don't understand production or marketing. It's a very blasé, blurry, gray world. And so what I found is I really had to hone in on, like we were saying, pinpointing that. And that's really what networking, when you and I met, has helped me do. Was it's easy. I'll never leave the moniker of makeup artist, because most people are like, oh, that's right, you're the makeup artist, right? And so But I think really being able to hone that in and help businesses and help people get on this new digital highway, especially since COVID, because if you don't video market, you're left behind. You know, you know, if people they don't identify, they don't buy.
They don't buy.
Period.
Right. Well, and I think that's always been the way that people identify with you, the person, right? There's just been different ways of doing it. And I think now videography is the way that we're doing that.
Right.
You know, it's been
Absolutely.
before it was more face to face, which we still do. I'm still I don't know, I'm still old school. I'm the face to face person. Like that's how I sell. But yes, we are in the day and age now where this videography is important. That's why the TikTok things go crazy and everybody's using the reels. Yeah,
I mean, I'm still learning. Every day is such a learning curve. Being a business owner in the 90s and 2000s is so different from being a business owner now. Because everything is so at your disposal. And there is an app to help you invoice. There's an app to help you, figure out sales. There's an app to figure out,
there's an app for everything, right?
And then you're having to learn all the apps, So, every day.
You need a teacher. You need the teacher or the person just to do the apps, right?
The app life coach.
Yes, I'm not that person, just so you know. Because I don't know, technology and me, like I'm like, here's the person, can I just get you to do this for me? Like can you do it for me?
I just want to hand it over.
I don't even want to figure it out. Like I don't want
learning curve.
No, this is great. I love it. I love what you're doing and I love just the evolution, but I love that also you're also staying true to your passion and what it is that you originally started with and just taking that and how do I morph that to be something in the business world that I can utilize. So great stuff.
Absolutely.
So you talked earlier about, leaving and going and sleeping on this friend's couch and stuff. And that may been the biggest challenge. What do you feel like has been maybe the biggest thing you've had to overcome in this process really to get to this point that you're at right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I literally the end of last year, not to get my violin out, but
she's so funny.
I'm turning 49 and I knew I wasn't innately happy like I used to be.
Yeah.
Raising children is an aspect, there are so many great times. There are so many struggles, but I am somebody to a fault that pours way too much into something and the give isn't back. And that's so much of parenting. But I also was doing that in my work life where I was always the one that was, we'll just give it to Ashlee. She'll figure it out. Because I will sit up all night and try to figure it out.
Because you're the overachiever.
Overachieving, that type A anal control personality. And those are great for some situations, but you can really wreck yourself too. And so the what if came up again. And it was another porch swing of saying, hey, Ashlee, what if you had never gone back and tried again? What if you just stayed in corporate? And not to bash corporate. There's a lot of people that need that structure. And it was wonderful for the point that and the purpose that it served. But the porch swing, analogy came up again. It was like, what if you never try again? What if you never do something different? What if you never take the last 24 plus years now and you don't make it all come together? Will you truly be happy? And I could tell I was starting to suffer at the end of 2021. We all were. We've been at the end of COVID. We've learned more things than we ever thought possible. Our brain is overdriven, but I was innately not happy and not having any fun. And I've worked too hard to sit in that lane, So it was really about leaving corporate and it was 100% fear when you've been taken care of for 8 years and you have an IT department and you have an assistant and you have somebody to figure this out, you get a little cush. And so, but it was really my health and my sanity at the end of last year, just saying, I'm not sleeping, I'm not feeling great. And I still have to be here because my daughter's got a huge journey still in front of her. She was graduating high school, but Ashlee wasn't being the best Ashlee that Ashlee could be. And so again, I don't want to be on that porch swing shriveled up and going, why didn't you just try again? Why didn't you take this to the next level? And it was, so really, if I had one word, it would have been my health,
Yeah. Well, and that's where my job comes in as the coach. That's usually what happens is we have those pivotal pins.
We do.
I talk about you get pinned against a wall, something happens. And usually it's like, it's something that it's the trigger point that it's like it pushes you down the rabbit hole because you think it's this one thing that you're trying to fix. Maybe like you have this health condition, or maybe it's your marriage, or maybe it's you're unhappy with your job. It's like this one thing, but it's really deeper than that at the core.
It really is.
And it gets back to who you are, in developing you as the human and the individual and the entrepreneur, whatever that is, right? And so I'm glad to hear that not that you came to that place, but that you came out of that place on the other side and figured that out. And I will say something about the kid thing because my youngest just graduated from high school.
Oh, congrats.
And I've said this multiple times. Yes. Teen to adults is the most difficult stage, I feel like, to get through as a parent. I am a Motel 6, I feel like. Like, I will leave the light on for you. That's how I feel at my house all the time. The other day I had
Motel 6 and / ungratified unpaid Uber for a very long time.
They all have cars. Well,
thank God they have cars.
We have one. One of them's cars totaled. Yeah, one of them's cars totaled right now. So we are with one kid without a car right now. So yes, we have to give out the credit cards and leave the light on. And I'm like, I saw something the other day on TikTok. One of my friends is actually a parent coach. She was on my old podcast before. Amazing lady. She said this is like the number one thing she talks about with parents right now is this whole like teen to young adult age. And she said, when they're little, you go through diapers and bottles and all that, and you think it's hard, and it is, but you still have control. It's a whole new thing when they get to this middle, like I'm trying to be an adult, but I'm not really an adult yet.
Right. Well,
so that's a whole nother conversation, right?
But that is part of it. It was really hard to go from, like facilitator into warden.
Yeah.
It was a really hard.
I like that facilitator.
Yeah, it was a really hard transition. And I only have one. And she was like my ride or die, right? Yeah. And then it went into this, 2 ships passing in the night. And I was like, oh, yeah, I miss you, right? But I know you've got to go through this. They have to shove off the side of the pool, right?
They do. They come back around though, from what I hear.
We'll check in 4 years from now with each other.
Maybe we got to all jump back on a podcast. We'll have a conversation about this. Yes, the follow where all the kids are now. Like where the kids are now.
Or Ashlee and Jennifer drinking.
Yes. Well, you said a lot of really great things in all of this, I think, and all this evolution and that you've done personally. What do you feel like you've learned through this journey? Like, what's been the big takeaway?
Oh wow, that's such a great question. I will say that I feel like I've taken away that I am so multifaceted, and that I can really rely on Ashlee.
I like it.
And I think for the first time, we are so innately born with fear, right? And it is really about setting all that aside, being still, being mindful, surrounding yourself with great people, but really knowing, and I don't ever want to use the term survivor in the wrong way, but when you do have health scares and you come out of it on top and you take things seriously and you can monetize the fabulous of what you love into something, and you can go through something that was really challenging and come out of it on the other side that is amazing. And I think for me, it was being able to say, hey girl, every challenge you accept, everyone you are over, and you always meet yourself on the other side. So I can really depend on Ashlee.
You can depend on you.
And that was really huge.
That's good. That's a good takeaway, I think. I think that's the thing that I try to tell a lot of people, because there's nothing really certain in life but death, right? That's the only thing certain. Everything's nonlinear. There's nothing we can control. And so many people get hung up on trying to control things. Really, the only thing that you can control is you. And so you can control working on you every day to be better. And that's what I tell people is that for me, my job is to worry about Jennifer. I mean, yes, I worry about, my family, those kinds of things, but priority is the way that I'm good to them is by taking care of me. So the things that I do is to count on me every day is to make sure that I'm doing things that add value to myself, my goals, my health, my well-being, all of those things that bring me to the table to be better for you and everybody around me.
Well, and to your point, I've often said you come to this earth alone and you leave alone.
That is true.
What you do on that inside is you still have to be true to you, and you really have to be able to depend on yourself.
Good
and
stuff.
Yeah, that was it's a juicy tidbit.
We could do the mic drop. So good, so good. So I do want to ask you, and Chris might even want to ask this question. I'm thinking, I want to know, like, what's the because I looked at this and like we talked about it. You did like you were lead for Katy Perry and her dancer. Her dancers. You did the CMT. What's been like maybe like I want to say like maybe most surprising thing that you did, like something that you're like, wow, this is just awesome.
God, I've had Wonderful question. I've had so many awesome moments. And I'm an organization nerd.
Okay.
So that's a 2-part question.
Okay.
So
You go for it.
Come at that. I am always nerded out by how the Grammys, the American Music Awards, how they are run.
Okay.
Because you'll get this, Chris, from that production background and that want to be in that more, watching that type of, mass production happen on, and what was back then more pad and paper than it was anything on your phone. I think every time I walked into the Staples Center or the Kodak Theater, I was always overwhelmed with how well run a production is in Hollywood. I really think that's where that birth of production came in for me, was the organization, getting everybody where they needed to be, because it is astronomical to watch the behind the scenes of like the Grammys. That is pretty incredible. What was the other part of that question?
I'm guessing
I'm 49 years old next week, Jennifer. Help me. Yep.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm older than that. So
well, you look like you're 12. So.
So I'm gonna make you feel better right now.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about my birthday this year. Okay.
Yeah. Mine is next Wednesday on the 27th.
This is great. You're looking good. You got great energy. It is all good. Just embrace it, right?
Yeah,
That's what I say. Nobody has to know. We didn't tell y'all. We didn't tell y'all anything on this podcast right now. Okay. We didn't say anything about age. The question was, what was like the most, I guess, fun, surprising thing? But I think sounds like the Grammys were the thing.
I mean, it really was. But that's such a viewing aspect of it, But I think as being the makeup artist, I have to say, and I am, people always want to hear my stories, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long journey. People are always like, who was the best person you worked for? Everybody.
Everybody.
I can name on one hand, B-listers are harder to work with than A-listers.
Sure.
One specific singer, when we had to do press in LA, needed 13 limousines to wear, and I won't name them. But on the good side, Tom and Rita would need one town car pulled around the back, right?
Yeah.
So there's those funny things, but I think being here in Dallas and doing a lot of press junkets, I loved what an awesome moment was I had with Chris Cooper and with Kevin Costner. And we sat down at the mansion downtown, and then Kevin and I were doing we were more on the road, but Chris was down at the mansion, and we were sitting outside and, drinking clove tea because he wasn't feeling well. And he said, what is the biggest theater school around here? And we were telling him, oh, it's SMU. And so he goes, well, call up their theater department and see, if I can go in. And they call, of course, they're going to, call everybody and say, even if we're not in class, come in.
Sure.
Chris, is coming in. And so we went in and he spoke to them. They came in, they're in the Round Theater at SMU. And he spoke for, 2 hours and just answered questions and was just completely lovely, to these students that so wanted to be where he's been, in his career. And then on the other side of it was watching firsthand how philanthropic Kevin Costner was with a girl he was making a movie with, and their family had struggled and dad had lost his job, and we're at the movie premiere something, and he just hands him the check and was like, I don't want you to have to stress over the next year while we're doing press for this movie. And I think for me on the inside, because I'm paid to be quiet and to not make people a big deal, because they have to be comfortable,
Sure.
right? If I walked in taking pictures and freaking out,
Right.
and, I wouldn't be good at my job. So I'm there to be a friend. Men we're called groomers when we're doing hair and makeup for men. And they don't want to say they have a makeup artist on set, right? So I come in as I know about football and I can drink beer and, what do you want to talk about, right? So
awesome.
And so that's where I get that repeat clientele, but it's really great to see how much actors love their craft, and how much they want to give back and how philanthropic people are, and being able to see the inside scoop of people, because I am quiet and will sit back and come in when needed and, be the friend, because the makeup artist has the first aid kit, we have the ibuprofen, we're the everybody, we're the mother hen on set, right? So being able to have that connection with people and see who they are away from camera is a really awesome experience for me.
Awesome. She's fine. We could just be talking forever, I think. Okay, so we're going to do, this has been good. And I'm not thinking we could go forever. Yeah, but we can't go forever because they're going to get tired of hearing us eventually.
So edit all that.
No, it's all good. But we got to do I think we need to do a few rapid fire with her. Don't you think? Just a few, because Chloe's probably going to have something he wants to ask you. So rapid fire is intended to be rapid.
Right.
It isn't always rapid, but we're going to try to make it rapid.
Okay.
Okay. Ashlee, let's see. You've traveled around. You've been everywhere. I'm going to ask you this question. Okay. Favorite destination spot? Traveling.
For work, I'm assuming.
You can be either or.
If it's for work, it would be Tokyo. If it wasn't for work.
For work.
Did I say that wrong, Chris? Oh,
No,
okay.
no, I just like it. She's like, for work, it was Tokyo. I'm like, how many people get to go to Tokyo for either? You know, that's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
It's
great.
And then seeing Harajuku Street for the first time after only listening to Gwen Stefani talk about it on her song.
Yeah.
And then being able to go there and do Fashion Week and everything else was pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Non-work was when I took my daughter to Oslo, Norway. She speaks Norwegian, so I went and let her talk to her people and just tell her curse. It was great.
Cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. You got one?
First concert.
Oh, first concert was Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Love it.
Wow.
He's on my wall.
Is he? I have a crick in my neck, so I
Yeah.
can't tell that far. It's 49.
It's behind
That
you.
age.
It's on there.
So-
40. I was with my dad, and I mean, I have such a great memory and a visual of Kenny Rogers coming on
So
stage.
awesome. We haven't had anybody say Kenny Rogers. That's
Love
it.
it.
First time
Yeah.
you today.
See? Okay,
Awesome.
great.
Good question. Good question. Did you have another one?
I do.
feel like you have
actually.
another
I do
one.
have one more question. So I understand where you're coming from, where you have to be everyone's friend and you have to lay low because they don't want someone geeking out. And when we go to concerts, we call those people punters,
Right.
you know. And so, out of all the people you've worked with, who is the person that you had the hardest time reeling that back? That you were like, you wanted to geek out, but you knew you couldn't.
You're like, I want to be. I don't want to do it. I can't.
Okay, well,
That's a
I
good
don't-
question.
it was a good question. Tom Hanks is the first one that comes off because when you hear that voice come down the hallway and it's Woody, there's something about you that goes weekend at least because that voice is so
You want to
impressive,
sing it?
right?
You got a friend
Yeah.
in me.
But I'm down there putting my cowboy boots on, and, I
It's
think
so
probably
good.
the biggest person that I nerded about wasn't even a client. We were at a party at Chateau Marmont in LA for one artist's birthday. And I came running around the corner because I think she needed something. And again, where I'm, makeup and hair people are always everyone's therapist and mother on set. And I ran into Bono like in his face.
Oh.
Like, I think we
Ooh.
made contact. If
Like-
I'm not recreating a narrative in my brain, it's like I ran around the corner and ran into him and squealed like a 10-year-old schoolgirl.
Oh my
you know?
gosh.
Because A, I just hit somebody, right? And then B,
And
I
then you
sit
hit
back
Bono.
and I realize who it is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll never work in this town again.
That's
like, it's
so
over.
awesome.
It's over.
That was a good question.
That is a good question.
That was
Yeah.
so good. I would have
And there's
thought
a
about
hundred
that.
more of those.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that is so fun. It's fun when you've had those kinds of experiences.
Yes.
You can laugh about them now, but you think, wow, like how many people never get to have that experience? You know what I mean? Like,
I was
you
fortunate.
know?
I mean, moved to LA and
Yeah,
had a really
that's
good
so
group
awesome.
of friends that
That's
were
so
there,
awesome.
and I was super blessed.
I think this has been fun. This has been good, Ashlee. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, find out what you're up to, what you're all about, where do we want to send them?
Website is ashleeerickson.com, and it's 3 E's in a row.
We like it.
Yeah.
We'll make sure too, Ashlee, when this goes out, we'll make sure the website's in there. But I always want you to say it so the people that are listening can actually hear you say it.
No,
So.
absolutely.
But it's great because it's your first name and your last name.
Yeah.
Popped up her beautiful signature logo.
And isn't it
Thank
great?
you.
Isn't it great?
yeah, those are great people at Art Logo that did that for me. They
She's
can
doing
take your
awesome.
signature and do it, which is pretty awesome.
Well, you're doing awesome things, and we're so grateful that you jumped on here today to share with us. I love all your stuff, love your energy, and
Thanks for
your
having me.
charisma and mojo
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. And so, like I said, we'll be sure when this goes out, we get you tagged, connected, all of those good things.
Okay.
Of course, we do want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our show, be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook because we can't do this without you. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. And we got to finish up with our final thought, right? In close, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.